right, dope. So let me go ahead and you remember I had a set of questions for you because you're doing big things and just everywhere you go, you're doing something to promote our culture, And I'm just very proud of you. I know we spoke not too long ago and, we kind of touched base on what you were doing, but that was, let me see. I think if I'm not mistaken, that was early last year. And now you continue to evolve. I am so proud of
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. All right, let me pull up these damn questions because Lord knows my crazy ass. Yes.
Always keeping it spicy.
Lord, yeah, you got to do certain things out the norm for a good cause, of course. But you always got to do some, like you said, spice it up a little bit. You can't stick to the same thing over and over again. It just becomes like blah.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to understand what you're doing. So if you can, sis, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from and who you are.
This question is always like the weirdest question to answer because I'm like, how do you tell people who you are and like what they would give a fuck about? Sorry if I can't curse.
Right.
I'm
No, you
also sorry.
can.
Okay,
Shit.
this is my
Shit. We're keeping it all the way real.
all the way 100.
Yo.
So
So what's
I'm
up?
Kat. I'm from Queens, New York, born and raised, currently living. And I am by profession, I work in tech. So I am a Black woman in tech. By passion, I am the founder of Black Men Cry Too, which is a digital web series where it's an invitation for men of color to unpack their hurt and share their truth and know that it's okay that they can cry too. I also have my own agency called Retro Barbie, and I am the founder of the hashtag Bright Hair Dark Liquor, all about a lifestyle. It's more than a hashtag, and it's more so promoting everyone to live their authentic self and their true self and own their voice and who they are and breaking all types of societal norms and breaking a whole bunch of like taboos as well. And Retro Barbie is the agency where we do brand architecture as well as other creative work.
Nice. So yeah, initially I was like, hold up, light hair, dark liquor. I was like, that sounds like a song I want to get jammed to. I was
Sounds like
like,
a good
okay.
ass drink too.
Right. And I was like, yo, that's straight a vibe. That's a straight vibe. And like you mentioned, it's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. More than a hashtag,
So
it's a lifestyle.
exactly. And you got your own thing going, you got great things going, and you're promoting others to get a hold of what they got going on because what you might be going through and endeavoring in, you're, a successful tech girl in the tech world, and that might not be somebody's drift. But as
Right.
long as they take hold as to what moves them, what drives them, take a hold of that, create your own hashtag.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that that's super awesome. Yeah, so that's something that I wanted to ask you about as well. My second question to you is, can you tell us about your brand and the artist that you manage?
So the brand Retro Barbie, as you had mentioned, it's all about it coincides with the hashtag Bright Hair Dark Liquor. And I essentially branded myself, which I guess is a weird thing to sort of say. Like I made my at name, my brand name, and then I branded myself. It just seems like like you said, we all try to find like a mold to fit or a term to use to describe us and for why. Like it's just what we've been taught. It's been a norm to learn that from society. I'm this and I'm that. And I have to amount to these things. And I can't look a certain way if I do this, or if I do look a certain way, it must mean that I do that. And I've run into that when I first started doing my hair coloring journey. People would ask me, oh, are you an artist? No, I just work here in corporate America. I am the actual art. I'm walking art because I like color. Color makes me happy. I don't feel like doing my natural hair every day. So here's my color extensions to brighten up my day and show a little bit of my personality. And from that, a lot of people took to me because it exudes confidence, which is ironic because I have my own insecurities and I'm not that much of a confident person. But it exuding confidence is encouraging others to be like, you know what I've always wanted to do? This. Let me try it. And in owning my look, my image, I've also owned my voice, because now I have people looking at me. And that's what happened in corporate America. Now I have a lot of attention because I'm not just another Black girl here. I'm a Black girl here who, one, I should be happy to be here. They gave me a seat at the table. And now I don't fit the image. So it's, you have this Black girl here. It's not fitting the image or the perception that you thought I was going to fit, but I'm still here to get the job done, because this colorful hair is just protecting my creative brain. But that brain should be the first thing that you look at, not my appearance, I should say. So in doing that, with branding myself and getting opportunities to work with different brands, I've been approached by multiple people who want to brand themselves and put their image out there and get an understanding of their brand identity. So I've assumed the role of a brand architect manager. And the artist that I manage is Alexander Noir. We're going as A Noir moving forward, and he's a super dope hip hop, if you want to call him a hip hop artist, we don't even label him either. And that's the beauty of this journey. So that's been super exciting. It's a new world to get in. Managing anybody who's in the music industry knows how like cutthroat it is, knows how tiring it is, but it is very exciting if you do the work. So I manage him, I manage a wardrobe stylist, and I manage a therapist for their brand image.
Yeah. And I think that the best way to put it is like a rock star. You go all out and it's like, this is me, whether you
Right.
like it or not.
Right.
Like you mentioned, it's what I have to offer up here that you should be looking at. Not what the hell I got going on my hair, on my clothes. Of course, I know I look fly. You always look sharp.
Thanks,
So my thing is, don't just look at your style, your swag.
Right.
Look at what I got to offer up here, and then don't get it twisted, because I come straight up like who I am. So check yourself.
Exactly. It's either you like it or love it. There's no in
Yeah.
between. Like it or love it. If you hate it, you gotta go. Just get out my face. Get out my way. I have other shit to do than to worry about your perception of who I am, or whatever story you came up with in your head. Whatever story you came up with, run with. I don't care. I'm not here to defend myself. You're lost.
Exactly. And that's my thing. Like, now people are seeing that, and they see your drive, your unique sense of style, and your confidence. They're like, yo, I want a piece of that. I want to learn that.
I want to get some of that energy in my orbit.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. We have to be able to feel good with what we look like, who we are. And I always tell everybody, if you listen to my interviews, I'm always telling people, you got to know where you come from to know where you're going. And you clearly picked up on that, and you got your movement. It's a whole movement. I tell people it's energy. It moves. Once you got that positive energy around you, nothing can really break that. You know who you are. You know where you come from. You know where you're going. Nobody can break through that, and that's very important to have around you. Also, when you are that person with the positive aura, you also have to protect it. But the fact that you saw room for growth to share with others, so they themselves can become walking positive energy, that is dope.
I appreciate that, sis. Thank you.
I was like, yo, I gotta talk to her again. I mean, we've hung out a few times since I last interviewed you, and we spoke. We had fun. You looked out, and it's all love.
In both cities, we went to Atlanta and
New
York with it.
Hey, what do people call that? Two city.
Bi-coastal?
I just call
Oh, but that's two different coasts.
No, it's same coast.
What?
Bi-city. How about that?
We're gonna coin it.
Yo, so my next question to you. So not only are you a fashion guru and an artist manager, and you got shit going, popping off for yourself, sis, you also have a platform for our melanated men. It's called Black Men Cry Too. Now that shit is very needed. Now, mind you, women, we're known for crying. We're known for every time of the month we get sentimental. It comes with how we've been created. Sometimes I'm crying. I'm like, yo, there's needs to be a show like My Sisters for Us Women. I'm ready to cry. But people expect that from us, you know?
Right.
But what they don't expect it from is our melanated Black men. And there's no safe zone. Do you want to get into that? Do you want to get into what that platform is that you've given our men, and what it's all about?
Yeah. So literally what you had said, Black Men Cry 2 is a platform to showcase these. I'm sorry, I have a puppy and he's going berserk.
It's okay.
You are so embarrassing. This is why I can't have friends. So the reason why I created this platform is for a few sentimental reasons. One, I had lost a male best friend when I was 14 to suicide. And I did know like a lot of his secrets and a lot of his, hard upbringing. However, was too young to understand the signs and completely missed the signs of him wanting to decide to take his own life and moving forward in doing so. And I was also in a mutually abusive relationship. And it was because we were both in episodes of depression, but we didn't know what depression looked like because no one ever talks about what depression looks like in our culture. Can you stop biting me? Mommy's busy. Leave me alone. Play with this. And lastly, I was dealing with this guy, a very stoic guy from the hood and, very, I guess what you say, feared and respected. And I'm pretty sure no one has ever seen him cry. No one knows his fears. And anytime he came over here, I was holding them. I was holding his tears. I was holding his concerns. I was holding all of that for him. And it wasn't until our last conversation together where I realized a lot of our men are carrying a lot of weight that we don't realize because they're not sharing it. So they come across as this angry Black man, but what is this anger coming from? It's basically their hurt feelings, their emotions, and they don't have a place to release them. There's no safe space for them to share their emotions, share their feelings, share their truth, share their story, and be received well. When was the last time anybody has seen a Black? Okay, you have to get on the floor now. You're biting me way too much. So what I basically wanted to do was show that, give a platform to have these Black men tell their actual stories.
Yep.
Their way, not by the media, because the way the media tells it, they're all drug dealers, they're this, they're that. No, they've been dealt a shitty hand from this country. This country is always showing them that they're not worth it. Their lives are being taken by police. There's no justice. And this is what they wake up with every day.
Yep.
And a lot of my male friends were like telling me their personal things, and it just kept clicking. A conversation I had with an old friend that said, hey, there's a push for women looking for healing and going into therapy. What about Black men? Black Men Cry Too. So in having all those conversations and playing back all of the painful experiences I've had, I decided I wanted to have a platform where it shows a woman of color sitting down with her brothers, having these hard, serious conversations and showing it's capable. We can have these conversations. It's taboo, it's uncomfortable, but look at how comfortable our body languages are. Look at how easy he's able to tell his story and tell his perception, and have it so we can digest what it is that they're actually going through and jumpstart someone's healing journey. This isn't therapy by any means, but it's a step in the right direction. You're having the conversation with a stranger, with a friend, you're sharing it with other friends, you're getting other people to understand and sit there and be like, yo, I feel seen. Like, she has dudes from different industries, different looks, different cultures, and they're all sharing stories that many of these men have gone through, but I've never seen someone boldly show their emotions, boldly sit there and be like, yep, this is how I feel, this is what I go through. And I think the first episode that I ever released definitely helped get people to understand the purpose of the platform. When the person I interviewed at Peter Perfect 09, because of course I'm gonna plug him, said, if I wake up and a cop wakes up and has a bad day, that day may be my last day. And this is how I wake up every day in America. That's some heavy fucking shit. And people don't consider that enough. Like, I do believe, yes, I believe the Black woman is the most disregarded in America, but I think Black men in America have not been given grace to feel.
Yep.
And that's why the platform is here.
Yep. And I will add to that, at times, there are situations where us women, we have generational curses that at times we don't even know we have to break. or that we need to heal from. Sometimes we're in that space where we don't know that we need to heal yet, and we don't make it easy on our men to speak to us. You know,
Right.
it could be the fact that they had a tough day at work, they got pulled over, and they
Right.
luckily, it
Made it
wasn't their
home.
last time. They made it home,
Right.
they stressed, they got bills to pay, they forgot to pay this bill, and you over here tripping about some completely out the blue. That's adding to his pile of stress. And then it's, where is he going to go to talk to somebody,
Where is he releasing this instead of just carrying and letting it continue to build on and on and on?
Yeah, yeah. And I want to thank you for having your platform, because it not just only allows our men, our youth, that it's okay for you to talk to us. It's okay to talk and vent and even cry, because you are human. You don't have to suck it up.
Right. This is human bodily normal functions. Everyone's allowed to do it.
Exactly.
We allow
Exactly.
dogs to freaking cry, but we can't allow black men to cry. What kind of backwards ass shit country we living in?
Yeah. So it's not only helping our men, but it's also helping our women, saying, yo, wow, she's okay with hearing all this shit, and letting him like express himself like that. What am I doing wrong?
Right.
If
And
you're
not
not in
even
that
what am I doing
space.
wrong? It's more so what more can I do, or what can I
Do.
do differently? And I think
Yeah.
that's also the other part that I've learned throughout this is our, like you said, our role as women in these like situations, in these relationships. And the whole purpose of it is to help continue breaking those generational curses and to help fester, because at the end of the day, if we're pitted against each other, we're also being part of the reason why our culture and our community is being detrimentized. Like, we have to heal together in order to continue to have, new healthy generational cycles and not
Yeah.
have this ancestral curses, generational curses, societal angst against us. There's so much pinned against us that why are we against each other? We should be working
Exactly.
together to heal from the cards that were dealt to us that we didn't even choose. We didn't choose these cards. We all got the
Exactly.
shit hand. Why are we being shitty to each other?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it's just a no-brainer at the point that, once you start analyzing that you need work and others need work, and then that it's a team effort, it's nobody can do this alone.
Right.
That's when we're going to see some type of progression.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to ask you, at what point did you realize that it had to be a space, a platform, because you understood that there was an issue? At what point was it the pivotal moment where you were just like, nah, fuck this, I'm gonna do something about
Whew, girl, that is a hard question.
it?
I think, well, I was thinking about the idea. It was sitting in my head for probably, what's March to July? That's 4 months. So for 4 months, this idea was circulating in my head. I just had the name Black Men Cry Too. It just kept circling and circling. Then after I had the last conversation with my old situationship, where I was like, okay, no, I need to create this platform. It's, well, how do I want to give this platform out to the world? How should I have the world digest this platform? And I was like, oh, I could do a podcast, super easy. Yeah, but it takes away from seeing the visual. And that was the whole thing when I decided to make it a video series, a web series, is I want you to visually see these men. I want you to visually see their body language. I want you to visibly see me and me talking to them, a woman of color. Like, I wanted that representation to show. But I feel like the pivotal moment was when I had that last conversation. And the way that I looked at it is, if this hard guy can feel so comfortable being so vulnerable with me, it's a gift. And if I don't do anything with this, I'm doing a disservice to myself as well as a disservice to my friend who took his life. I always wanted to do something for his namesake, for his legacy. I wanted to keep his name, his memory alive, but I wanted to do it in a sense where it honored him. And I felt like this platform did just that. I had my own personal guilt that I worked through in therapy of like, could I have saved a friend if, I was up, if I answered that phone call? There's no way I'm going to be able to have the answers for that. But if this platform can help somebody in any way, shape, or form, help them identify a need, a problem, help them have a conversation, help them change their mindset, help them decide they want to take up different outlets to help them heal, even if it isn't therapy, but just something to release, then that's all I need. And it just so happened to work out the month that I released Black Men Cry 2. Days later, Kobe passed away. And for anyone who knows me growing up, Kobe was my guy. He's the reason why I got into basketball. I haven't not been a Lakers fan all my life. And with him passing and seeing these strong athletes openly breaking down in front of the country, in front of the world, and not caring because they lost their friend, and then seeing us break down off of a man some of us have never met before, but was deemed as one of our superheroes, it just ended up being the perfect timing in a very weird way, because it's here are these Black men openly showing their vulnerability. Here's a platform around Black men showing their vulnerability and speaking out about it. And then Black Lives Matter movement happened with George Floyd. And now it's here's this platform being used as one of these resources. And people were literally scurrying around trying to find what are resources for Black men who are literally watching themselves be taken, their lives being taken away on screen, where we have to watch. That's trauma. We're further traumatizing ourselves within our community, within our culture. And here's a different piece of media for you to digest that, again, it could be heavy, but at least it's in a positive light. It's in a positive way. It's you telling your story. And I feel like the pivotal moment for me is me learning how to own my voice and my story to be able to share other stories, because their stories are deeper than mine. So who am I to just sit here and tell mine? I want to hear from you. I want you to share your story. I want to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, girl, I was crying in a second. But yeah, that's deep, you know, everything. Okay, how would I say this? This is the year of enlightenment, and everything has synchronized itself to give back to our melanated men. And you have that platform. And like you mentioned, it's in a positive direction, you know. And when things happen, you know, as young ladies, as women, when it happens to the men in our communities, in our families, and close to us, we do have, you know, that point in time in therapy where we're like, could I have done something differently? You know, um, so I have a brother, a sibling that's serving a life sentence for something that he didn't do, and I was just like that night I couldn't sleep. But you know, my ex-husband at the time, he was like, "Go back to sleep. It's okay. You just call your family in the morning. Ignore your phone." If now I don't let nobody tell me what the fuck I need to do. I don't give a shit.
Right,
If I have a
right.
gut feeling that says, "Yo, I need to call my mama up,"
I'm
motherfucker
calling
gonna call my mama.
mama.
But you know, I did ask myself for so long, and I beat myself up. I was like, yo, if I only would have answered the phone, because my phone, you know, at that time it was placed downstairs. So I would just go to sleep and just don't worry, you know, and it was not in bad intentions. It was just you have to go with your gut, you know, and I kept saying if I would have answered the phone, or if I at least would have attempted to call, or if I would have just got in the car and drove out there, I could have stopped something. I could have been there. And you know, just life happens and you do your best. And that's what's important. You did your best and you really can't blame yourself. You know, you can't blame yourself. I did for the longest, but I had to come into realization that I did my best as the party of being a
Right.
sibling, of being a you know, a friend, and you're able to move forward, and then you are able to heal and then say, okay, well, this is what the situation is. I can't change the past. What can I do in honor of my loved one, of my
Right.
friend, of that person that I hold to high esteem, that you know, that did their best in society to be a better person? What can I do now in a positive light moving forward to
Right.
honor them? And you know, that's the process of healing. So I want to thank you so much. We need that. We need to have conversations like this, and also conversations with melanated men. You know, everything, like you said, is pinned against us, and right now what we most need is to stay together. We need to
Right.
unify. We don't need
Right.
the division. So your platform is clearly doing that. Your movement is clearly doing that. You just
Thank you.
radiant with positive energy.
Thank
And
you.
I'm just so thankful and very humbled to be in your space. It takes creative minds to be together and to, kind of channel out, filter out the
Right.
BS. But I'm just very honored to be in your corner. You have me in your corner. If you need me, I'm here for you. But I feel like it's very important that we let people know what you got going on. And how do gentlemen go about going onto your platform? Like if someone wants to be on your platform, how do we go about that?
So I'm gonna come up with a better, I guess, process starting the new year, but typically I answer my DMs and my emails on the Black Men Cry 2 page. So I have had men DM me or send an email. I've had people nominate other people. So that's been a blessing. Season 1 was all people that I reached out to, that I've heard them speak about something, or we've had conversations about something. The first few episodes were hand selected. The other ones were sort of like, I came into the space of them. Season 2, that is going to wrap up in March, I believe. There's 4 more episodes left to be released for season 2, which we're currently in. Season 2, I didn't have to reach out to anybody. I didn't have to reach out to anybody to the point where season 3, I have a whole list of guests that are willing, ready, and waiting for me to be like, okay, this day at this time, at this location, to show up and tell their stories. And I don't take that lightly at all. This is, again, a vulnerable platform. I'm not even a vulnerable person. So I'm learning how to be vulnerable my damn self in this platform.
Hey.
And they're like excited, I guess would be a good word to use, to share their story or to talk about whatever expertise, topic, knowledge that they have to further help the community. And again, I do not take that lightly. I take that as the biggest blessing. I was moved to see how long my list was, how many yeses I was getting, how many people were reaching out to get on the platform. And even like to the point of fake pestering me, like, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. When's the next time? I'm like, all right, damn, now y'all excited to talk.
Calm
Whenever
down,
we in relationships, nobody wants to say nothing, but now everyone's excited to talk. Okay, relax. It's still COVID outside. I'm trying to follow guidelines.
Shit.
But that's typically like, I even got a DM from someone in London. I have family in the Caribbean. So seeing that it can be outside of America as like the future, who knows, maybe season 3 will have some pop-ups in a different country. God willing, COVID will relax. Who knows?
Yeah, I know, right? Hopefully, thank the Lord. Yeah, and it's not just, and that's what I'd be trying to tell people. It's not just when you have a vision, when you have a passion, it's not just nationwide, it's worldwide.
Right.
That should be a hashtag, worldwide, because your dream, your passion, what you're born to help others with, there's no limit, there's no boundaries, there's no barriers, no walls that's going to stop you from taking it to the next level. And there's always levels to conquer.
Shit.
Exactly. And like when it's something that's naturally born for you to do, there's nothing going to stop you, and there's no borders, literally borders, going to stop you. It's always going to excel into the greater good around the globe, worldwide. So I'm just very blessed to have you here, and I'm very excited that you're able to help every man out there and woman, because we're listening too. That's what we need to do. We need to listen. We need to learn.
Listen.
We need to listen. Exactly.
Actively listen. You need to actively listen.
So we listening. We tuning in. Now we got to listen. We're watching. And the men are expressing and pouring and being vulnerable. So we need that right now. I want to thank you for that. Are there any bits of advice that you'd like to give? Or let's start with our men, because we've been talking about men and women. So let's start with our men.
Whew. I feel like whenever people are like, do you have any advice to give? I'm like, I'm still hot trash. Like, I don't think anybody wants my advice. But I think for the men, what I will say is literally what the mission statement is. It's okay. And if 2020 has not taught you anything, you have one day to take this lesson of it is okay. It is okay to feel. You have absolute grace to feel, and it is okay to express your feelings. It does not make you less than a man if you are expressing hurt feelings, if you are expressing angry feelings in a respectful manner. We do not need to live up or give up due to society's labeling and prejudice and discrimination towards us. No, we know that we come from kings and queens. We need to start living like our ancestors, our kings and queens. And as kings and queens, and as, the man of the household, remind yourself what grace you weren't given as a child. And regardless if you think this would help you or not help you, think about how that can help the next generation. Be who wasn't there for you, or be who you needed growing up to somebody else, because that's what's helped me in my journey. Like, whoever I didn't have that I needed to tell me like, it's okay, I'm becoming that person for myself now. Now I'm that person. I'm that person that I needed when I was younger. So anytime I see a young boy or a young girl, and if they say something to me, I'm listening to them, because I want to be able to provide that for anybody at any point. You don't know what lasting impression you can have on someone, even if you meet them for 5 minutes. That 5 minutes can change their day. That 5 minutes can change their life. Something that you say to them, they can hold forever. I'm pretty sure there's something that everyone remembers that their parents told them or someone told them that hurt their feelings when they were a child, and they still hear it in the back of their head. Imagine if you heard something positive, and if you heard that in the back of your head, and that motivated you every day. So that's what I would say to men.
And now women, I'm listening. Sis, I'm listening.
Like, you tuning in. For women, when it comes to our melanated men, as you like to call them, which I love, please give them that space. Whether you're a mother, a sister, a lover, a friend, please give our men that space to be themselves. I love that my male friends that I have no like intimate relationships with can feel so comfortable coming to me, because now we can have open dialogue. Now I can give you another perspective. Now you're actively listening and trusting me to have these like debates, like, man, if you're tripping out, and I'm like, wait, well, did you consider it this way? Like, hold on. Or there's been a lot of my guy friends where they'll use the B word to just talk about females, but because, I'm a female and I'm their friend, they don't think twice. So they say it, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, can you repeat that sentence one more time? And then they'll catch themselves and be like, okay. So now we're breaking away from some of that toxic masculinity that we're working to break down with our men. So that's why I think it's important for us to hold those space. And when I said active listening before, actively listen to these men. Don't listen to respond. Don't listen to combat. Listen to what they're saying and hold in what they're saying. You'll never realize little bits and pieces they're telling you that will affect you with them. If they're bringing up a time, sorry that this is like a tangent. I don't have like my quick spiel for, I guess, advice. I did something to a male I was dealing with. I threw water on him, like drunk and playing, and he reacted very negatively to that. We got over it. And then a week later, when we were out, he told me a story about when he was in prison and guards would spit on them when they're walking by. So right away, I made that connection and I felt silent. And he was like, are you analyzing me right now? And I said, to a sense, yes. I realized how I triggered you when I threw the water on you. You went back to that place and you didn't even realize it. And it makes sense now. I said, in that moment, we were just screaming at each other because it's something light to me, but I never knew this. So this is what I mean by actively listening. You will pick up on what traumas and what triggers your partners have when you're actually taking the time to listen to what they're saying instead of just listen to respond.
Yeah. Wow, that was deep. Yeah. Girl, we could talk for hours. But yeah, luckily for me, I can say that the gentlemen in my life, like my babies, my ex-fiance, my ex-husband, my brothers, and I, even my dad, Like we all on good terms, you know, we're all good, you know, we chill. Um, but it's taking a lot, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, at times either one of them come to me and they're like, yo, I'd be like, what's up? Or what it do? You know, keep it light. But once they say, yo, I already know it's gonna be a heavy
What's gonna
load, you
happen?
know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it feels good for you to be open to have this conversation. I don't know what the hell you're going through, but I'm glad that you feel comfortable enough to come sit down and talk to me, or at least pick up the phone and reach out to me
Right.
instead of overreacting to something, and then all odds are against you, and then something gets pinned on you, you know. um we need to do that. We need to listen. We need to be that safe zone, that safe haven for our men. If they don't have spaces at home or somebody they can rely on, if we don't become that for them,
Right.
then where are they going to go to? You know?
Exactly. And then what are they gonna go to? And then what are they gonna do? Let's just
Yep.
try to avoid this as much as we can.
Exactly. It's
Break that
just
cycle.
exactly. That's what I was saying. It's like a domino effect. But yeah, yeah. Girl, thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Do you have any shout outs before we go? Because you know I gotta get my shout outs in. I love shout outs.
um, I don't. Do I have any shout outs? F it. I'm gonna shout out the brand at Black Men Cry Too, and the reason why I'm gonna shout out the brand is you can see every male that I've interviewed on there. So instead of me being like a shout out to this one on this episode and this episode, no, tune in. You can see what the topics are in the description. You can follow the men. The men that I've interviewed are so spectacular. They're all doing amazing things within the culture, within the community, in their own different lanes and aspects and avenues. If you want to get on the platform, if you want me to promote you on the platform, please DM me, email me, even if we're not able to get on the show. I have had like some great men tell me about their resources, and I've been happy to share the resources. I have a resource page on the website. I just want to continue building tables for us instead of asking people for a seat at their tables.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's very doable, very possible to do that. People, like you were mentioning, I branded myself. Yeah, kudos. I branded myself too. That's what you're like, might sound crazy because I was like, I don't know if you saw my face. I was like, no, it ain't. I branded myself too. I was, you know, I was in the finance world, and then I shifted. I'm doing marketing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is my passion. This is my thing, and nobody can tell you no, because guess what? You gave it to your damn self. You built the damn table. You built everything on the table. Nobody can take that from you. It's yours. And then you share it with everybody else and show them how to build their own tables. It's theirs. It's ours. It's our community. So yeah, most that. All right. Well, Kat, I appreciate you. I'm not going to take more time from you. Thank you so much. I love you too, sis. Until you come back to Atlanta and I go up to NYC. You already know. It's our show. All right. Make sure to follow H.O.R. on all social media platforms.